where it's at. All right, you're gonna get 2 minutes to share out with your group members, which you guys came up with, and then we're gonna go over this. All right, go. That's fine. All right, let's go ahead and discuss the couple questions that we have here. So it says sale today only, high definition TVs, now 25% off, normally $500. So it says in the advertisement above, if we want to determine how much money we will save, are we looking for the part, the percent, or the whole? All right, and you just have to explain why you're saying the part, percent, or the whole. All right, Drake?
Part.
Why?
Because we already have the whole and the percent.
So which one is the whole?
The whole is $500.
Okay. And then obviously we have the percent right here because it tells us.
25.
All right, so what are some clues that led you to your decision in question number 1? So one of them is we have the whole, which was $500. The other one is we have the percent. All right, what was another one you guys came up with? Is there anything else that told you that we're looking for the part? Okay, so just knowing that the whole number, or knowing which one is the whole number, and knowing which one is the percent. All right, and then about how much money do you think you would save if you purchased one of these TVs today? All right, Christian? Okay, anybody else come up with something different? What'd you say? 175? Okay. All right, what else? Anything else? Blake? 250. Okay, anything else? All right, and then how did you get your answer for number 3? So those of you that came up with 125, 175, 250, how'd you get your answer? Silas? So multiplied, what'd you say? Okay, but what made you pick 125?
Because before that I divided.
You divided?
Before that
You said 25 by, or 500 divided by 25? Okay. All right, did anybody do anything different?
I did
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Are we moving on to the next number? Because we don't have to do that.
Just how did you figure out whatever number you put up there?
We got 250 because if 25 went into the 50 place and we just put 0 behind 200, behind 25, that went into 500.
So you multiplied.
Yeah.
Okay. So you use math words. So what did you do? Because
So
what you
multiplied it,
multiplied what?
250 by 2, and I got 500.
And then how did you get 250?
Because 25 went into 50 twice, so we just put a 0 behind 25, so it goes to 500.
All right. Okay, so go ahead, glue this in on this first left page. Then you're going to need a highlighter as well if you don't have it out yet. Alex, whatever you're doing in your jacket, get out of it, please. Well, get out of your jacket. Get a pencil out, put a highlighter out, and leave your jacket alone. I'm in the middle of math class. I don't really care about horses that we found. If you were listening to the announcements, they told you what to do, right? Right? If you were listening to the announcements, they told you what to do. So I'm in the middle of math. I don't care about a little horse that you found. Well, then I guess that's going to be a problem. All right, turn or slide to the next right page, and you're just going to write notes continued, and then today's date, which is 10/16. And then get out your note sheet that I just passed out to you. All right, so each day that we go into a specific part of finding a percent, part, or whole when we're doing percents, it's going to be the same format. It's going to be notes on one side with the percent proportion equation. This is what we're using. And right now it might look a little scary, but I promise you, like, it's actually very easy. This is the easiest way I can teach you guys how to find the percent without using a calculator. Okay? And then you guys will have some practice problems, and then depending on how we work through class, we'll determine if you are working with a partner on the start of your homework. All right, and this is the way it's going to be for the next couple days. The note should not take us terribly long, because I mean it's just one simple half sheet essentially of notes, and then practice problems. And we're going to do tons and tons of practice problems because that's the only way to really get good at percents. Stop drawing. All right, so it says now that we understand what a percentage is, and we know how to determine whether we're seeking the part, whole, or percent, we're ready to tackle the percent of a number problem. And this is what we're going to use. That highlighter does not work. No. All right, so please go ahead and highlight the percent proportion equation. So the P is going to stand for the part. The W is going to stand for the whole. Obviously, the percent sign is standing for what? The percent. And the 100 is always on the bottom right, because percents are out of what?
100.
They're always out of 100. So the 100 will never move. Okay? The 100 will always be in the bottom right corner. All right, and in our problem, this is why it's really important for you guys to be able to identify the part and the whole, because ultimately all these questions we're doing today, we're looking for the part. So it's going to be kind of easy to know where we're putting in our unknown numbers and where we're putting in our known numbers. But essentially, how many of you guys know what it means to substitute a number in? Okay, if you do not stop, the whole table is going to get silent lunch. You should not have a highlighter in your hand unless we are highlighting. And right now we're not doing anything. Do you understand me? I'm not talking to this table again at all. Substituting. So, how many of you guys have ever played a sport where you're playing and you're like running, and you get super tired and you ask your coach to take you out because you're tired and you need a break? Okay, what do they call that usually? Substitution, right? So you get subbed out and we put a new person in. So that's essentially the same thing we're doing when we substitute numbers in for an unknown number or for a known number. So instead of having a W, you're going to actually have a number. Instead of having the percent sign, you're actually going to have a number. Instead of having the P, you're actually going to have a number, depending on what we're finding. So just kind of think about substitution like that. All right, so it says, since we know how to solve proportions, all we need to know, I'm sorry, I cannot read. All we need to do is sub the two values we are given into the proportion and solve for the variable. Now, what is a variable? Anybody know what a variable is? Okay. This is an unknown number. And for today, our variable is going to be x. So whatever number we don't know, we're going to put an x in the place of that. Okay? All right, the example that we're going to be doing down here is from our warm-up problem. So our warm-up problem was, what is 25% of 100, ultimately, right? All right, so it says determine whether you're looking for the part, the percent, or the whole. And we have already done that. We're looking for the what?
Part.
The part. Step number 2, it says sub in the known values. So those are the known numbers. So we're going to sub in the 25 for the percent and the 500 for the whole. And leave a variable in the place of the unknown value. All right, so again, here's the problem we're always starting with. The W is our whole number, so that's going to be our 5, and the percent is 25. So this becomes x over 500 equals 25 over 100. Does everybody understand that? Is there anybody who doesn't understand? So 500 becomes your whole, and 25 becomes your percent. Your 100 will always be in your problem. That will never ever change. Your 100 will always be in the bottom right corner. And then our unknown, depending on what we're finding, that variable will be where, like if we don't know the part, right? Right? Nobody knew the part from the problem originally. You guys tried to find the part. Some of you said it was 125. Some of y'all said it was 175. Some of you guys said it was 250. So that is why the x goes there, because we don't know it. All right, and then it says solve the proportion for the part using any method learned in previous units. All right, so you have 3 different options to solve. The one that I'm going to solve and model and even modify is going to be the cross product method, because it works for every single one. When you're finding the part, you can use any one of these that you want, whatever makes the most sense. But when you're finding the whole and the percent, not all of them will work. So that's why I always use the cross product method modified, because it works for every one of them, whether you're looking for the part, the percent, or the whole. So filling in our stuff right here, what goes in the top left? Based off of this, what goes in the top left? Samantha? No, top left. Silas? X. Okay, what goes underneath the X? Zachary?
The whole 500.
500. What goes above the 100? Samantha? 25. All right, and then from here, you just say to yourself, okay, well, how do I go from 100 to 500? What do I do? Ansley. All right, so I'm going to multiply by 5 here, and just like a fraction, whatever you do on the bottom, got to do on the top. So 25 times 5. So 5 times 25 gives me 125. So x equals 125. So technically, that would be our discount. That's how much we would take off of our TV. So that's one method. Okay, not too bad. Okay, the next method is the up and down method. This method only works when you're finding the part. This is the only one that works for part. So same thing, x goes in the upper left. What goes underneath the x? 500. And then what goes above the 100, Joshua? 25. All right, and then you say to yourself, well, what do I divide 100 by to get 25? Right.
4.
All right, so I'm going to divide by 4 here, which means I have to divide by 4 over here. So 500 divided by 4 gives me what? Christian? 125. So again, x equals 125. So 2 methods you can use, both of them giving us the same answer. Okay? How do we feel about the first 2 methods? Not too bad. Practice, honestly, will be a big thing. The last one is the cross product. Like I said, I modify this from what even this is. How'd they get what? 0.5? Times 5. Sorry. I'm sorry. I just, it's,
She was using an answer key, and I was like, what?
yeah, it's a times. I'm sorry. I didn't even
That
think
makes
when
more
I,
sense.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, no.
You're like, what is going
I
on?
was like, I was trying to do all the math, and I was like, oh.
All right, so cross product. So still setting it up the same way as the first 2, right? So what goes in the top left? You can just call it out.
X.
The X. What goes in the bottom? 500. What? 25. Now, you guys know cross product, you cross multiply, and then ultimately you simplify. What we're going to do, you're going to cross multiply, then divide. Okay? Cross multiply, so I'm going to do 500 times 25. What is 500 times 25? I'll tell you. 12,500. Okay? Then go straight down and you divide that answer by 100. Okay? So then I'm going to do 12,500 divided by 100. Cross those off. Cross those off. My answer is 125. Does everybody understand why I cross off my zeros?
Yeah.
You can cross off because it's what? Right. And rather than doing all this crazy work of 12,500 divided by 100, I can get rid of these 2 zeros and these 2 zeros and it becomes 125 divided by 1, which is a whole lot easier, right? So however many zeros you have at the end, you can cross them off. Does that make sense? Or if you want to, you can do 12,500 divided by 100. How many times does 100 go into 1?
0.
How many times does 100 go into 12?
No.
How many times does 100 go into 125?
Once.
How many times does 100 go into 250?
2.
And how many times does 100 go into 500? Okay, so again, this is a shortcut. It worked really well for this one, and most of the time it does. All right, but if not, that's the same thing as doing that. Does that make sense? Make sure you have this on your paper as well. All right, stand up when you have this copied down, if you could see it, because it won't focus. Okay, stand up when you have this copied down, please. All right, so slide over to number 1. Now, on all of these, we are finding the part, okay? You have 3 options of how you find the part. I don't really care what you use. What I'm going to be modeling is the cross product, modified, whatever you want to call it. So in here, it says what number is 25% of 68. This is my percent, and I know that's my whole number. Set it up just like this over 100. How can I put it? Why do I know that 100 is always in the bottom right? Why do I know that 100 is always in the bottom right? Zach?
This is the percent, and percent's always to the right.
Because it's a percent? Excuse me, percent is always to the right, and it's out of 100. So I'm going to start with my percent there. I'm going to put my 68 here and my X here. Does everybody understand how I set this up?
Yes.
Is there anybody who's confused? All right, and then from here, I'm going to cross multiply, and then I'm going to divide by 100. So I'm going to do 68 times 25, and I'll help you guys out. This is 1,700, and I'm going to divide it by 100. Okay, you guys do the 1,700 divided by 100, and then stand up when you have your answer for X. Stop. Put your shirt on normal. If you're cold, go get your jacket when we're done. All right, what is the easy way to figure out your answer here? Like, what is one easy way to help you figure out your answer? Ansley? Like,
When I divide, I just crossed out zeros.
right, so you cross,
By 17 by 1.
perfect, and your answer is
17.
17. Okay, so that is your answer for the first one. All right, the next one, what is 60% of 20? 20 is my whole number, so I'm going to set it up the exact same way I set up the last one. 100 first. Where does my 60% go? Blake, above the 100, where does my 20 go? Think for a second, where does my 20 go? Samantha?
On the bottom left.
Bottom left, and then my x goes here. So again, you're cross multiplying and then dividing. So you're doing 60 times 20. Raise your hand when you have that answer. Kira? 1,200, and then you're dividing by 100. Again, stand up when you have your answer. All right, what did we get when we did 12,000 or 1,200 divided by 100? Gracie.
Okay, so I crossed out ones and zeros, and I got 12 divided by 1, and I got 12, so x is 4.
Yes. All right, next one. Find 30% of 70. Where does my 30% go? By now, I should see a lot more hands than this. Even if you're writing, you can still tell me. Gabe. Okay. Where does my 70 go? Bottom left. And then my x goes here. Cross multiply, then divide. So you're doing 70 times 30. Raise your hand when you have that answer. 70 times 30. Sincere? 2,100 divided by 100. Okay, stand up when you have your answer. All right, what do you get when you do 2,100 divided by 100? Angel. 21? Mm-hmm. And you can just cross off your zeros and go from there. All right, I want you guys to do 4 and 5 on your own and stand up when you're done. So again, number 4 is what is 120% of 25? And number 5 is find 5% of 320. Again, stand up when you have your work done for both of these. Get out the chair like that. All right, let's go ahead and go over these. So 120% goes where? 120% goes where? Angel L, where does 120% go? Over 100. And then obviously 25 goes here. So you cross multiply and then you divide. What is 25 times 120? 25 times 120. What'd you guys come up with? Ansley?
3,000.
All right, and then 3,000 divided by 100 gives you, cross off your two zeros, x equals 30. How many of you guys got that right? Okay. How many of you guys think that this is not as hard as it originally seemed? I'm telling you, this cross product then divide thing is the best way. All right, the next one. Where does my 5% go? Where's my 5% go? Cannon. Over the 100? Yes. Okay, and then 320 obviously goes here. Again, cross multiply, then divide. 320 times 5. Silas? And then we're going to divide it by 100, cross off my zeros, x equals 16. Please make sure that you're drawing your arrows and then you're highlighting them. So if you haven't been drawing your arrows, please draw them so that you know cross multiply, then divide. All right, this last one, 80% of 90. So 80 goes over 100 and then x over 90. Cross multiply, then divide. Stand up when you have your answer. All right, when you do 90 times 80, raise your hand. What do you get? Drake.
7,200.
Okay, and then you divide that by 100. What do you get?
72.
So x equals 72. All right, so how do we do on those first 6? Pretty good, not too hard. Okay, now let's apply it to a word problem. Okay? So number 7 says 80 middle schoolers go out for the basketball team. 15% of them make the team. How many students make the team? All right, so we have 80 middle schoolers. This 80 middle schoolers is what? The part or the whole? This is our whole number. Okay, and then 15% of them make the team. Obviously, that is our percent, and we need to know how many students make the team. Still setting it up the exact same way we've done all our other problems today. So which number goes above the 100? Which number goes above the 100? Joshua? 15. 80 goes on the bottom left, x goes above that. Cross multiply, then divide. Stand up when you have your answer. Did you do it? Got it? You didn't annotate though. Guys, your paper should be extremely colorful today because wherever I have highlighted, what should you have done? Highlighted. These are notes. So when you're taking notes, you're writing and doing everything that I'm writing and doing. Okay? It's got to be. These are your notes. Now, when you do the work yourself, you don't have to have all the extra highlighting, but for now, you do. All right, so you do 80 times 15. When you multiply 80 times 15, what do you get? Gabriel? 1,200, and then we're going to divide that by 100, which I'm just simply getting my rid of my zeros. So then 12 students made the team. How many of you guys got 12? Okay. All right, you are doing number 8 on your own. Stand up when you're done. All right, let's go ahead and go over this one. So what number goes over 100? Samantha? 60. Okay, what number goes under the X? Samantha? Under the X?
350.
All right, you're going to cross multiply, then divide. So 350 times 64. Raise your hand and tell me, what does that equal? Ansley?
42,400.
What'd you say? 20?
22,400.
Okay, and then you divide that by 100, simply getting rid of your decimals. So there are 224 students who ride the bus. All right, questions about this?
You need zeros. You said decimals.
Yeah, that too. Yes, the zeros.
Same thing.
Kind of, sort of. I mean, kind of, sort of. But yes, so apologize about that. Getting rid of your zeros, and you end up with 224 students. Now, difficulty level. Hard, easy, easier than you thought it was going to be? Okay. You're going to want to keep your notes out and available while you're doing your practice problems. But I want you to glue these in so that they don't fall on the floor. So go ahead, glue this in, and then I will give you the next set of directions when everybody is finished. So give me a thumbs up when you are ready. Start, do it that way. Please tell me you are not doing all your work in a pen. There is a half sheet of paper that I passed out to everybody. Please get that out. Please turn to the next blank left page and write part of percent's homework and then today's date. So turn the page, and you're writing this on the next blank left page. You need to title it this so that you know where this goes. Not yet. All right, you are going to take and put a strip of glue across the top right now. And you're going to glue just the top of this in, so again, you do not lose this sheet of paper. Now, you notice what about all of these questions? What do you notice about all of these questions, Christian? They're all word problems. So Christian, what are you going to have to do with these word problems? You're going to annotate, highlight, underline, whatever you want to do. So if you do not want to use a highlighter, that is fine. But in order to get credit on your homework, they must be annotated, however you want to do that. Now, I'm giving you the option. You can do your work in these boxes, but if the first one doesn't go well, and you're like, yeah, there's no way I'm gonna fit this work in here, I want you to do it underneath your piece of paper. Okay, we are gonna do the first one together, and then I'll give you directions after that. So it says at a local zoo, a local zoo had 750 visitors on Saturday. If 20% of the guests traveled from out of town, how many local guests visited the zoo on Saturday? All right, what's important in that first sentence? Blake? 750 visitors on Saturday. All right, what's important in the next one?
20% of the guests were out of town.
Okay, so these guests were out of town. All right, and then the question is asking us for what? What is the question asking us for?
How many local guests visited on Saturday?
Okay, so when we find our answer, we're gonna have to do an extra step because this 20% is the number that were from out of town. So you're still gonna set it up the exact same way. We're still trying to find that part that is from out of town, right? Okay, how many visitors did we have? What is our whole number? What's our whole number, Ansley? Okay, so this is our whole number. So that goes here, and then 20% goes above the 100. So you cross multiply, and then you divide. So the same thing still applies. Raise your hand when you get that answer, 750 times 20. All right, Gabriel, what'd you get? 1,500? Christian?
15,000. Yeah.
15,000, okay. All right, and then with that 15,000, we're going to essentially divide it by 100. I'm gonna cross those two off, so I have 150. Is that my answer? No, and this is where we have to do that extra step, right? So now, what do we have to do with 150 and our whole number? So what is this 150, what does that number represent? Are these our local travelers or these are out of town travelers? Out of town. So this is out. We'll just say out. Okay? I then have to do what? What do I have to do? And this is where it gets a little bit harder because you did the hard part, but you have an extra step. Ansley?
Divide.
Nope.
Such.
Alex?
Simplify.
No. Christian?
Oh, subtract.
Yes, so you're going to take 750 minus 150, and your answer is what?
600.
600. So you had 600 people that were local, so 600 locals. We'll just say it that way, is your answer. All right, now at this point, you are allowed to work with a partner if you want. Bless you. If you do not want to work with a partner and you feel like I'm going to be better off on my own today, you're allowed to work by yourself as well. You're allowed to move around the room if you want to, whether you're working with a partner or by yourself. This is homework if you don't finish it. Okay, but you guys have like 21 minutes to get this done.